Once upon a time, in a quiet village that stood at the edge of a deep green forest, there lived a sweet little girl. She was cheerful and kind, loved by everyone who saw her. Her grandmother had sewn her a bright red cloak with a hood. The girl wore it so often that people called her Little Red Riding Hood. One bright morning, her mother prepared a basket of fresh bread, honey, and butter. She said,
"Take this to your grandmother, my child. She is not well and will be glad of your visit. Remember, stay on the path and do not wander."
Little Red nodded eagerly, the basket in her hands. She walked through the busy village. Smoke rose from chimneys. Neighbors greeted one another, hens clucked in their coops, and children played in the square. Everyone waved as she passed, for the sight of her red hood had become a symbol of joy in the village. The path to her grandmother's house was long, crossing through the Greek forest. At first the sun shone bright. The tall trees swayed gently, birds sang, and shafts of golden light fell across the mossy ground. She walked happily, humming a tune and swinging her basket. But after some time, she slowed her steps. The forest grew quiet to quiet. Then from the shadows stepped a wolf, tall and lean, with fur as gray as stone and eyes that glimmered with cunning.
"Good morning, little one,"
the wolf said in a soft voice. Little Red answered politely.
"Good morning."
She remembered her mother's words and kept walking, holding her basket tighter. The wolf followed at a distance. He watched the basket, licked his lips, and smiled slyly. But Little Red did not look back. She reached a clearing filled with wild flowers. The air was sweet with their scent. For a moment she forgot her mother's warning. She picked a handful, laughing as butterflies fluttered around her. The wolf crouched behind a tree, watching, waiting. That night, Little Red stayed with her mother. But the next morning she set out again, determined to reach her grandmother's cottage. This time clouds hung low, the air heavy with the smell of rain. The forest seemed darker. Again the wolf appeared.
"Where are you going, little one?"
he asked, though he already knew.
"To my grandmother's cottage."
She answered quickly, then hurried away. The wolf grinned. He knew two paths, one long and winding, and another much shorter. While Little Red walked slowly, he would take the quicker way. With a flick of his tail, he vanished into the undergrowth. Little Red paused to rest under an oak tree. She listened to the forest, the caw of crows, the rustle of leaves, the sound of a distant stream. The forest no longer felt friendly. She rose and walked on, the basket heavier in her hands. By the third day the sun returned. The red of her cloak glowed bright against the green of the forest. She felt relief when smoke rose beyond the trees. Her grandmother's cottage was near. But the wolf had reached it first. He knocked gently on the wooden door.
"Who is it?"
called the grandmother.
"It is I, Little Red."
The wolf replied, imitating the girl's voice. The door opened. With a leap, the wolf sprang inside. The poor grandmother gasped in fright. But before she could run, the wolf shut her in a tall wooden cupboard. Then he pulled on her nightcap, wrapped himself in her shawl, and lay in bed, waiting. Moments later, Little Red arrived. She noticed the door was ajar.
Grandmother,
She called softly.
Come closer, child.
Came the rough reply. She stepped inside, the cottage dim and strange.
grandmother, what big eyes you have.
All the better to see you with, my dear.
Grandmother, what big ears you have.
All the better to hear you with, my dear.
Grandmother, what big teeth you have.
All the better to eat you with.
The wolf sprang from the bed. Little Red screamed. But nearby, a woodsman was walking along the path. He heard the cry and rushed to the cottage. With his axe, he forced the door open. He saw the wolf in disguise and shouted.
Away, you beast.
The wolf snarled, but the woodsman swung his axe against the floor with a crash, and the wolf fled through the window, tail between his legs. The woodsman opened the cupboard, and out came the grandmother, shaken but unharmed. Little Red ran to her and hugged her tightly, tears of relief in her eyes. The woodsman said sternly,
The forest is no place for wandering. Stay on the path, and remember your mother's words.
That evening they sat together by the fire, the grandmother wrapped in a blanket, sipping warm tea. Little Red listened as her grandmother spoke gently.
My child, you must be careful. Not everything kind in the forest is what it seems.
From that day on, Little Red never strayed from the path again. She still walked through the forest, but always with care. The wolf was never seen again, though some say his shadow still lingers at the edge of the trees. And so Little Red Riding Hood grew wiser. She learned that obedience and caution can save lives,